drill press is a machine that we're going to use to drill holes into our material. This is a tabletop version of a handheld drill. It's much more accurate and able to drill through different materials like woods, plastics, and metals. First thing we're going to do is make sure that we choose a bit that's intended for the job. In other words, is it meant to cut through wood, plastics, or metals? If we choose a twist bit, we're going to want to make sure that we put this inside of the chuck, that we only clamp in this section here, and we don't clamp to the flutes. The flutes being the section in here that's going to allow the chips to remove. If we use one of our Forstner bits, we're going to find out that the ends are a little bit different. This end is a hex shape, and this end is round. Either way, we only want to clamp onto just the end portion here and not down the shank of the drill bit. In order to do this, I'm going to rotate my chuck clockwise in order to open it up, or rotate it counterclockwise in order to bring down the 3 jaws. So as I slide this down, there's 3 jaws that slowly get closer and closer together depending on the size bit that we're using. So I'm rotating this clockwise to open it up, counterclockwise to get it hand tightened. That's enough to hold it in position, but as we start to drill, it's not quite held tight enough. So we're going to use a chuck key that has a spring-loaded tip. This is just in case if I were to actually leave this in and hit go, it should pop out before it starts to spin. So I'm going to go in, rotate, so I make sure I really hold that in location. I like to put this chuck key down here below the table so that I don't lose it. If I were to drill through a long board like this, and let's say I had to drill in this area, I always want to make sure the board's off to the left. So the long end is off to the left side. If it should spin on us, it's going to rotate and spin around the column. Typically, as we feed the drill bit down, it's okay. When I start to come back up, that's when most of our spinning occurs. So we need to be careful that this is held down in position, my long end's to the left side. If my long end was to the right side, what could happen is I could spin around and hit myself. I'm going to drill a hole through this board. And in some cases, when the board's really small, say for example maybe half of the size, I might want to use one of these vice clamps that's underneath the table. They're very heavy, they're going to hold the piece into position so I don't have to hold it with my hand and be dangerous. In other cases, I might need to use a C-clamp or a wooden hand screw clamp that we can get by our glue-up benches. I need to make sure the table's in the right position. If I were to rotate the feed handles down, I can see that I'm not able to actually drill all the way through the material. If that's what I want to do, I need to raise the table up. So behind the table, there's a table lock. So I'm going to loosen the table lock, make sure it's pretty easy to move this back and forth. Then I can go ahead and raise the table up. If it's difficult to move the table back and forth, you need to loosen the clamp a little bit more. So I can go down now, I can see I can drill all the way through the material. I'm going to go ahead and just loosely, not really strong, just make sure the table's held in position. You can see it's not going anywhere. Again, whenever we use any of our machines, we want to make sure that we have our safety glasses on. You're going to notice up top here we have 2 switches. There's an on-off switch. That actually turns on a bulb that's supposed to be underneath here that we don't have. This switch, if I pull out, that's going to turn the rotation of the bit on. So I'm going to go and make a cut. When you're finished using the drill press, grab your chuck key, rotate counterclockwise in order to, with your hand, in order to loosen up the chuck. Take our drill bits, put it back to the location where they belong. And then underneath the table here, there's a vacuum. We're going to use that in order to vacuum up this area and clean up your area. Remove your materials, and please make sure to put everything back to where you got it. Before you walk away, take your chuck key, slide it inside of the chuck, and just get it held enough loosely that it holds in the location so that the next person that comes up knows where the chuck key is.